Hey guys, it's finally time for a makeup related video on this channel. And I know my channel's been taken over by all kinds of other more lifestyle stuff, but those are just like so easy for me to film and kind of update you guys and show you guys different things. So I hope you guys are enjoying those videos too, but if you guys are interested in seeing how I got this makeup look, just go ahead and keep on watching. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start with the eyes. I always do the eyes first. I'm gonna go ahead and prime them and set them and all that, and then I'll zoom in so you guys can see it a little bit better. But I keep this light Tarte Shape Tape like around. I took the stopper out of it because, you know, these things are pricey, so I keep this for priming my lids. Switch to light neutral just because this one was just like, I'm just not into the super bright under eye like I used to be. And after I blend it out with the brush, you can do it with your finger too, but I just get like too much product on my finger if I start with my finger. But I like to do my finger like after I'm all done, just to make sure I don't have like a thick amount on there, because that can cause creasing too. Some Airspun to set it. You want to make sure you set it really well. I've been kind of slacking, like kind of just slapping this on, and then I'll get a little bit of creasing like in the inner part of my eye. So now I use a smaller brush to kind of like tap in the translucent powder instead of just like sweeping it on with a bigger brush like I used to. Okay, so I'm going to be taking this Morphe E28 blending brush. I've been using my Tarte Pro palette lately, and I've really been liking Innocent for like my transition, just for any look that I do. I don't know if that's too dark. So I'm going to put it mostly on just the crease and like above. Leave the lid pretty blank. Going in with No Filter, this purple shade right here, and I'm going to be putting that right directly in my crease and then fade it inwards. I'm kind of going to be patting it on the outer corner to darken the outer corner, and then the excess I'm just going to run it through my crease. And this brush is the Morphe M433, and then I'm going to go back with that first fluffy brush and the same transition color and soften up the edges. So I'm going to be doing a liner and lashes and everything, so that's why I kind of bring out my shadow all the way like where my eyebrow like ends. But if you don't do a wing liner, I would suggest keeping it very rounded, just to the end of your eye. I know everybody's eye shape is different, so that way it just doesn't look too messy. I'm going to be going in with Rose Gold Retro, the Stila Magnificent Metals Glitter and Glow. So this is the applicator. It's a little doe foot applicator, and it's a rose gold shade. So I'm going to be putting that on the inner part. I'm going to take a little flat brush. This is by Morphe too, but I don't know the name. But my lids are slightly hooded, so I just kind of like look up and I can see where the glitter is going to hit my lid, and I can blend it upwards. I'm not necessarily doing like a half cut crease or anything like that. I'm just focusing it on the inner corner out. So I'm going to leave it like that for now. I'm going with this more like pointed, you guys can see that, this more pointed blending brush. And I'm going to be taking the purple in the Carly Bible Deluxe palette and further like smoking out the outer V area. I just like this brush to do this with specifically, even if it does look a little bit harsh at first, just because it like blends, like it adds it softly, but it doesn't like get it all over the place. Opposed to a blending brush that's more fluffy, it'll get it too much where you don't want it. And then I'm gonna go right above the glitter like that. I'm gonna go back with the M433 in the same purple in the Carly Bible palette and tap it in a tiny bit. The same steps to blend it. And then back to the original blending brush. There's just a lot of steps when you do a really dramatic eye look. And instead of picking up this is pretty much the same kind of color. I'm going to pick this one up for the transition from the Tarte's Pro palette. And softly blending out that edge. So from here, you have a few options. You can do wing liner. If this is already dramatic enough for you, you can literally just pop on some lashes and you'll be good to go. And then just add a little bit of liquid liner on your lash band to make it look a little more natural and like seamless. Or you could even add some black eyeshadow on your lash line to give it a little bit more dimension, but it's not going to be like very harsh like liquid liner or like gel liner. So you can do whatever you're comfortable with. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some gel liner. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my other eye off camera and then I'll be back to start on the face. So I already exfoliated my face and put my argan oil this morning, but I'm just going to put a little bit. I've been doing this instead of using like a hydrating primer. I've been just adding a little bit of argan oil before I do my makeup. Then I go in with my Makeup Forever smoothing primer right here that I've been using for ages. And they last a really long time. I usually put it wherever I have like fine lines or large pores. I was telling my husband I need to get Botox right here on this wrinkle. Getting that like, I think this is crow's feet, right? I go like this. Then when I let it go, I still like have the little line for a little bit. You know, it's just things I see, I think about. So anyways, so I've been loving my Makeup Forever stick. So I kind of just do a few lines in the larger areas of my face. And then I go in with my Fit Me Dewy Smooth Foundation. You guys hear a little baby? Or a big girl? What are you, a baby or a big girl?
Baby.
Oh, you're a baby. If you hear a baby in the background, it's Charlotte. I'm going to be using this IT Cosmetics foundation brush. It's a little bit dirty. It's a number 101. I think it's like the airbrush foundation situation brush. So I kind of like to pat it in. And then when I start swirling, like buffing it in, I don't press down super hard. I like barely, I'm touching my skin. And then I'm going to be concealing with light neutral tart shape tape. Using my Morphe G6. I'm just going to be using brushes today. And I find this really helpful. It's the same this is a Real Techniques Deluxe crease brush, but I don't use it for eyeshadow. I use it for how I used it earlier with the translucent powder. Or like for like right here in my nose area and right here where I have like tiny fine lines to really buff out my concealer so I don't get like fine lines. Because I will crease right here in my like nostril area. I'm going to go in with my what the heck? I'm going to go in with my Mocha Matchstick by Fenty. I've been liking to do like a straight line towards my mouth. Like usually I kind of curve it, but I just like how it looks a little bit better, more like chiseled and defined. And then I get this Morphe G3 brush. I think this might be for, I don't even know, like foundation, but it's really small. I like to use it to buff out my contour, my cream contour. So I tend to get kind of impatient and I'll start like buffing it in, but every time I do that, it ends up like disturbing my foundation underneath, and I have to like keep reapplying. And yeah, so I don't like kind of start buffing it into like the end. I tap it like the whole time, and it keeps that like bronzy look that I'm going for. And I'll go back in with the what is this? The G8. Oh, this is the G8. And I'll just blur out the lines around it. Boom. Looks so good. I love this cream contour still. And the top part, I just buff it in. I just buff it in towards my hairline. Like, look at the difference. My eyebrow is like non-existent. But yeah, that looks so good. Look at my missing bald spots. Motherhood. But yeah, I've noticed that when I start buffing it in right away, it can look patchy and it'll kind of start buffing away the color, and I'll end up having to like reapply more cream contour, and just takes more time. I haven't like perfected my nose contour situation. I'm still working on it, so I'm gonna go in with that same little brush I was using to blend out my contour. My concealer. I kind of want to go back in with a like brighter pink, like right on top of the shimmer. I think I'm gonna end up doing that in a little bit. So now's when I usually set my concealer. I like for it to dry down as much as possible so I don't have to put as much powder on my face. I do have dry skin, so it already can look powdery. I'm going to be using this E4 little angled brush to kind of set my contour area. I just love this color. Like, it just gives up such a bronzy look without it being too orange or too gray or too neutral even. And I just kind of tap it in. And the excess, I just kind of lightly. Everything I do when I touch my face and I'm buffing, I try to use as little pressure as possible. And for blush, I'm going to be using MAC Blush in Harmony. This is like probably my favorite brush. This is probably my favorite blush like ever. It just goes with any look. It's a very neutral blush. If you're super, super fair, you could probably use this as a contour powder, but I use this Morphe E34, and I just like put, and I love blushes that are not like too pigmented because they allow you to build it up. If you have it's really hard to take blush off. You have to blend a lot, and it can disturb your foundation, your powder, and all that stuff if you're like continuously going back and blending. So I love this, and I just tap this in. It just gives like a natural flush to your face. I'm going to use Antique Bronze in the Modern Renaissance palette to smoke out the lower lash line. It still has some shimmer in it, and it is brown, but it has like that plummy like undertone. It'll be like a nice contrast because it's still like in the mauve purpley family, so it won't look like crazy, you know, different. I'm gonna use this little tiny brush to go along my lash line. And I'm not gonna blow out the lower lash line. I want to keep it like on the outer edge and just like taper it inwards to give that like cat eye like effect. Because I like that more like grungy kind of like shadow effect. But for this, I want to keep it very clean. See how it already gives me like that more almondy shaped. So I'm going to take this pencil brush and add a tiny bit of the same shadow, and then just, again, barely touch and buff that edge. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other eye. And I know I've like mentioned this product like a million times on my channel, but this is a Costa Rica Eye Kohl. It's like it's a brown eyeliner, but it has like a reddish undertone. It's the bomb. I love this. I'm gonna be putting that on my lower lash lines. It just makes like such a big difference in my opinion, like especially when you're doing any sort of like smoky kind of look. I'm gonna go ahead and put my brows on. Okay, my brows are done and I set them with some clear brow gel. Now I'm going to put a little highlight, spray my face with some Mario Badescu Rose Water, and then I'm going to add a little bit more highlight after that. Highlight I'm going to be using is the Wet n Wild Precious Petal highlight. I've been using this like non-stop lately. It's just so pretty and natural. You can build it up or you can keep it like subtle. This is perfect for like the no makeup, you know, like when you just want to look glowy but you don't want to look crazy. And then I've been putting highlight like on the tip of my highlighting brush and then just going right under my brow. And then I do the same thing, put it on the tip of the brush and just run it down my nose a little. I don't mind like highlight on just a little bit on the apples of my cheeks, like whatever excess I have, because I have very dry skin. I don't get like oily like at all. So I know it looks like I put a lot, but it's just because I put a lot. This just prevents you from looking powdery. If you do full coverage makeup, use like if you're oily and you use a lot of powder, if you're dry and you use powder because you want your foundation to stay and look as flawless as possible. Any like full coverage foundation that you do, you need some facial spray just because it's not a setting powder. It doesn't like set your foundation and stuff for the day, but it just melts all the products like together and it makes your face just look not dry, not oily, just like nice and beautiful and luminous. And yeah, so if you use a lot of products on your face, you need that. I was gonna use some Artist Couture Illuminati Diamond Glow Powder, but I look pretty dewy as it is. I'm gonna use some of the Precious Petals to put on my inner. Oh, good. On my inner corners.
He's a big old baby.
He's a big old baby. Okay, and then once your face is dry, then you can go in with your setting spray. So this is by Milani, the Make It Last. It smells so good. So I've been going back and forth on lip liners between Strip Down and Oak. Both of them are by MAC. Strip Down is just a little more brown, and then Oak is a little more like on the orangey, like warmer side. I'm gonna do Strip Down today. I'm just gonna line my lips and then lightly fill them inward. I'm gonna use Bow and Arrow by Kat Von D. It's like pretty identical to Strip Down. So I'm gonna be using Buxom White Russian just to lighten it up a little bit. I don't want it this dark, and I just prefer a glossy lip.
You're the glassy.
So I'm gonna add probably a little mixture of these two pinks right here from the Jaclyn Hill palette on the inner part right here. Just wanted it to be a lot more, in a second, a little brighter, more like baby pink. And then I'm going to take the Modern Renaissance palette and add a little bit with a little pencil brush. I'm going to add Antique Bronze to the very like outer edge. And use the M433 to kind of like dull the edge a tiny bit. See how it gives like way more dimension, a little more smokiness. Yes, I love this so much more. Just those little changes, the brighter pink and then the deeper outer V. This is the little nugget that's been making all that noise. Huh, sis?
Yeah.
Okay guys, so that's it for this Valentine's Day makeup tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been so long that I've done like an actual talk through like tutorial and kind of explained and gave tips and all that stuff. So if you guys like these videos, give me a thumbs up and that way I know that you guys are into them. And thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys in my next video.